Welcome to the AlbionTV War Report, your source of live battle coverage featuring the top guilds and alliances of Albion Online. Today is the 17th of August, 2021. I am your host, the Shozen One, and I am joined today by Robinhoodrs on the play-by-play and Bogul on the camera. We are currently on a 15-minute delay, so if you have live reports of action, please contact us in-game. Our names are on the screen now. Robin, we are currently hanging out with Tamashi. Of your mum.
Yes, obviously back in Drive-In step once again. They've just secured the castle here, and we do know that there is two PoE blobs currently of 40% disarray debuff each in the zone next door. So we're expecting to have a castle siege like we've been experiencing the last couple war reports we've had today. Hopefully the fight kicks off pretty soon. I don't know what's taking PoE too long. We'll have to wait and see. But we also have Blue Army out and about all the way up in the north versus the 6th Alliance. But Squad and Armis is also up here working alongside Blue Army. So scripted fight, we were talking about this before, right, Shozen?
Yeah, we were just talking about this right before the show.
We were like, last time BA and 6 fought, everyone was like, oh, it's scripted fights, 6 rent off Blue Army. But we just watched Blue Army just walk over 6. And also Squad was here as well. I believe that's the blob just tucked outside the castle now, if you're on Jonku. And also Armis was here. So I wouldn't go and say it's a scripted fight, because why would 6 want to take a fight heavily outnumbered and like up against 3 different alliances? So disarray debuff isn't in their favor, and they're up against 3 different shock callers. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like something they would choose to do, and this has happened quite a few times in the 6 versus Squad war over the last 2-3 weeks. We've seen a number of times where 6 is able to bring more numbers than the Squad, and a number of times where Squad has a vastly outnumbered 6, to the point where 6 started to not mass as much. Like, they were going off and doing 30 and 40 man content while being chased by 250 people from Squad in 3 different alliances across many maps. That does not seem like, hey, let's get together and have friendly battles because you rent from us. At some point, maybe these guys did rent from us, but now,
but I'm showing. Yeah. I'm showing some Nito 14 of M3R.
Let's go check that out.
Sort of beating down a Doom territory.
Yeah, so the Snow Alliance also falls under the Blue Army Squad umbrella. So once again, 6 versus another known rental alliance, so to speak, of Blue Army. So I'm going out on a limb and say 6 are now fully apart from the whole umbrella of Blue Army, as they pin Doom into the territory here in Driftwood Vale, tucked away. Just a couple of zones. Actually, no, I'm wrong on that one. This is a weird positioning for them to be in. Area of the map. It's a 2100 territory.
Right.
They don't have any fights happening anywhere close to here. It's like slap bang. It's pretty much Black Monastery. So I don't know what they're doing here.
Content.
They're just hunting down snow.
Yeah, it might be that they were able to catch them, and these guys ran to, tower for defense, and that's how we got to this point where they're just trying to hold up in a defensive position because they were caught in, near the same size groups. As I have heard a number of times, hearing that the 6 Alliance likes to go out in small groups and try to search for content.
It all is possible. They could have came from the Avalanche Ravine Castle as well. Yes, actually, looking at it now, M3R currently do own the Avalanche Ravine Castle, and that's only 2 maps away from the current zone that they're in. So possibility that they chase snow all the way back here, and now they're just looking for that deletion. Obviously, it's a level 7 tower, so the guards are going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, and that mage is going to slap you about. So I I don't blame Six on backing out of this one. Those guards. Not fun at all. Looks like they're trying to pick off some members of the front line here. Nice curse goal coming in on that choke point for the Snow Alliance. Grail Seekers just shutting down the engagements. Here comes the bomb over the wall, though. DPS are connecting. 1 or 2 members of Snow going to hit the ground here. Unfortunately, Flyron didn't have his defensives up. Nice forward advance here with the Fallen Staffs from M3R. That was very nicely done. Double Fallen Staffs for the front line. That's something that you don't really see that often. And here comes the push from Snow. Obviously, look at those locusts, perfectly placed. Fallens are down in the Judicators. Very nicely done here by Six Alliance so far. Now the big push comes in. Some very nice clumps coming out on that engagement. And Six aren't going to overextend. Very nicely done.
Yeah, they chose how far they wanted to move ahead and said, this is our line. Let's pull back, get all of our cooldowns back, and we'll re-engage this. That was a number of separate cooldowns. They did a really good job of keeping all their defensives ready. Like you said, they were dropping the Fallens ahead of time, keeping themselves healed at the front. It was a really good push. And let's see if they're going to position themselves for another attempt at this, and maybe they'll push a bit deeper this time.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for them. That mage is going to be the major issue here. Like, once that thing starts zapping, it's going to destroy the frontline tanks.
So is that how far you push at this point? You just fall, push as far ahead as you get to the mage, and then make these guys come out to you for anything further than that? Don't go attack on the mage?
Yeah, 100%.
Don't risk it?
You do not attack the mage.
Well, we've seen people do it in the past, but
This is a level 7 mage, and look how many Snow still have up on the field. It's not like they're dwindling in numbers. It's pretty much still, I would say, even numbers across the field for both sides. So they're just trying to dwindle it down. Looks like they're going to dwindle 2 more down to the hideout as those DPS get caught off guard. So they're just picking away at the moment. Reinforcements aren't coming in for both sides, I believe, as I believe the major force of 6 are tucked away all the way up in the north. So this group of M3R and Huge have just been roaming, taking castles over here, the western side of the northwest area of the map. Just a field situation. See, Snow are doing what they should have been doing a long time ago. I mean,
hiding up by the mage, yeah.
Exactly. If M3R and 6 want to come in and get the content, you mess with the mage. They didn't get a level 7 tower for nothing.
Yeah, use that to your advantage,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
You do all that work, pay all those mercenary points just to die in front of the mage.
Nice little counter here with the Grail Seeker shutting down that engagement. Just getting whispered from Handsome Bob, keeping me updated with the situation with Tamashi and PoE. He just whispered me saying it's a COVID-safe CTA at the moment, plenty of distancing involved, so we're not missing anything elsewhere for the time being. We'll carry on our focus on the 6 versus Snow fight here in Driftwood Vale for the time being. But thanks to Handsome Bob for keeping me updated.
All right, yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the Tamashi situation as well, and they're just completely alone at this point. It's they've been given quite a bit of distance.
Syndic just zoned in.
Oh, he did?
Into...
Oh, he did, you're right. Dry-Vein Step.
Yep.
I'm over here now, and he didn't zone in small either. He zoned in large. That's a full group by Syndic there. That's a...
Do you want the Syndic or Tamashi POV?
I'm going to go on Syndic. You can go on Tamashi for now. I'm going to go check out what Syndic has for a debuff level. 41.
40, yeah, 40 on both
left.
sides.
They left. Elevate left as well.
Oh, yeah. They do not have 40. They have 15.
No, because you need to wait because they just zoned out.
Oh, yeah, they zoned out. So it'll be up to 20, you say?
No, I think Elevate will be somewhere around like 35%, maybe somewhere around there, maybe 40%.
Level 40, you mean? Level 35.
Yeah. Keep correcting
Very,
me
very
on.
close. Very close. 32. Well, I'm gonna, because it's not a percentage.
I'm just gonna carry on saying it's a percentage because I'm so used to saying it's a percentage.
Well, it changed. So it now is levels, and the true percentage of debuff is based on the difference between you and your opponent. That's how the debuff is now calculated. So we don't want to confuse the viewer too much because it's already a very confusing thing.
So even I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Doesn't
Yes.
take much.
That's what we're describing here is you being confused.
Yeah. Well, maybe Tamashi and the boys are going to be regrouping here. Maybe they're not just going to take the fight today.
And what was it? Yeah, I'd seen them up to a level 32.
Uh-huh.
It's the highest I've seen them so far.
So PoE having a 41%, PoE 2 having, I believe, another 40%.
A lot.
Yeah, it's literally double elevates numbers and then a little bit more on top.
And we've seen them take that fight in a castle on the defensive.
And
Open world, not so much.
I think
The opponent's castle, maybe not a great idea.
one thing to mention as well is that's a little bit of a change here. Syndic back on the command mammoth.
Oh, well. I guess they've been doing a good job farming those recently. Building up the coffers. Finally have enough money to afford the command mammoths again. I was getting
Yes.
worried there for, PoE and how much silver that they were making. I was worried they just weren't making enough.
Could have been slowly dwindling down, scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I know. Maybe we'll need to add new mechanics so they can continue to make silver as a guild.
Just seeing the Stonemouth Bay castle is under attack, but I don't think it's a large force who's here. Oh, actually, it's the fake Arch Guild, Arius, level 7 debuff here, and Guild Xena's here as well. I don't know what's going on between everybody at the moment.
Yeah, it's very quiet. I'm bouncing around and just not seeing anything. Like I said, elevate's running around. Wait, actually, where are they running to? They're running to this castle that has arch at it. Oh, it's fake arch.
Yeah, yeah. And Guild Xena's here as well. I don't know. And
Meanwhile, Nito and the M3R guys have disengaged and are going somewhere else.
they pulled back. I just hopped onto Jonku as he might catch a couple members of 6 outside of one of their hideouts in Scuttlesink Marsh. 1 or 2 may die here, but no major action on him. 2 minutes until territories can be claimed or pacified. And there's a couple launches up in this region of the map today. We got Timbertop Dale, Timbertop Scarp, Shellheath Hills, and Steppe as well under attack between Bromer and 6. Both sides having both launches and defensives as well. So, yeah, maybe something comes. But then again, Blue Army's up here, so maybe 6 don't want it. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it.
I keep an eye on it. Going around the world trying to find who's around.
I think your mum is in Stonemouth Bay, just chilling here now. The blob on that southwest door. Oh, that's Guild Xena leaving the zone?
No, there's still Guild Xena in the Stonemouth Bay castle.
Yeah, there's a blob down there that just left as well, along with the fake arch. I don't know if they're just rotating to scout outwards a little bit. But yeah, looks like it's going to be one of those quiet CTA, war report, shall I say.
I get the feeling from the level of trash talk that I'm reading that 6 are not members of Squad.
Yeah.
Just going by what I'm reading here.
Thought so. You know, 6 been pulling big numbers. It's about time that they split off and did their own thing.
Yeah. And their hideout is being camped for it.
Yep. Why don't retreat into a hideout during wartime?
Can be dangerous.
Indeed. Gonna be even more dangerous later on. Sheesh.
See what we have going on here. I'm hearing interesting things. No, that's still. I don't know who said Arch lost Red Tree, but no.
Great banter.
I was like, wait, what did I miss? Did I not pay attention to something? Happens, but this time I think I was paying attention.
Well, one thing we can mention is the fact that Surf have been evicted from Frost Spring Volcano. We covered it on the last war report, where I believe that 2 of the hideouts were on Final Shield. Actually, it could have been NA Invasion Day. That day?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, NA Invasion. The 2 hideouts were on Final Shields, and then there was a couple more left in the zone. Now everything is wiped out from that zone, and all the squad guilds are going and placing their hideouts down in there. There's quite a few under construction. There's 3 under construction for today. And there's already, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squad different guilds in that zone, along with a PoE vibes guild as well. That's already moved in after Surf got evicted.
It's so crazy how fast this stuff happens.
Yep. Literally a blink of an eye. Quite a decent zone as well, but it's like the same thing happened with Springsome Wetland as well, right? Surf had that zone, they got kicked out, and then literally the next day, squad guilds just moved in. It's mental. Anything happening? Do we have any?
I'm so quiet because I'm just typing in stock this guy, stock this guy, stock this guy, and it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I don't know.
Depressing.
There you go. Well, we were watching the faction guys go at it before we came on air because the bandit event was happening. And those zones were cluster queued for faction warfare now. But they were getting some decent.
It's been like that
CPCs.
for a few weeks at least, where the faction warfare blobs get so big that towards the end of the bandit event, when all the rats and organized groups go together for that last final push, where the factions meet each other, it's regularly cluster queued.
That's crazy. But gonna happen. I mean, it's kind of like the exact same thing with the Outlands, because, like you said, it's the final zones, right? So everyone's concentrated in for those final couple of zones that they're just gonna push for them. It's actually like the Outlands, where like if there's an objective only in 2 zones, 1,000 people is gonna try and get into those zones.
Yep. And that's not going to work real well, is it, Robin?
It's not.
What happens when 1,000 people try to get in the zone?
in the cluster queue for a while.
Yeah.
Then you go home.
700 people just kind of wander around wondering what's going on.
Yeah. Oh dear. I've got nothing on the
nothing.
people that I know as
I have nothing except for people complaining about spam. I made the mistake of typing in chat, and now everybody needs GM support. Sorry, guys, I can't do that for you right now.
Are we gonna? Should we just end the war report now? Because like we got nothing to report.
Well, I mean, we could talk about some of the other things that are going on. I mean, while I have you here, so I'm sure you pay attention to the Reddits.
The Reddits, yes, of course.
Yes, you know about them, and you know all the things that happen on them because you spend all your time reading the Reddits and the forums, right? That's what you do all day, yes, every day.
Yeah.
Any new post on there you are aware of.
Yeah, sure.
True, I see you on there. So recently there was a leak from the roundtable, a partial leak, and then another partial leak. And it's interesting to see some of the comments on there from people. Do you want to talk a little bit about what was put up on the Reddits?
I thought you guys were doing that for your next show.
We are. I'm just saying we can have a brief talk. We're going to be talking about it at length in the next show for like, an hour. So I thought if you wanted to spend 5-10 minutes with me talking about it beforehand, because I know that, you're interested in the topic to say the least. We've had a number of conversations on this, and I thought I would get some of your thoughts on the subject.
Okay. What part do you want to talk about, dude? Where do you want to go with this?
So I guess the most basic thing is that the idea of headquarters were announced, HQs, which are a special type of hideout that you earn through season points that allow you to have an invulnerable hideout. And that I think the other big news that was kind of buried in there is that there would be a limiting factor on the number of hideouts in zones as well through additional upkeep. I think that's the other nugget that's hidden in there, right?
Yes. So, like, the whole idea, right, is to try and allow guilds to live in the Outlands without having to pay someone to live there. Like, you don't have to rent, pretty much. I
don't even like calling it rent, because that's not really what we're stopping here. It's like, this isn't stopping rent. This is stopping extortion. This is stopping somebody from saying, give me protection money or I will destroy your shit. And that's what rental has devolved into, though there could still be rental going on in this world. But the idea of, give me 1 million silver a day or I'm going to break your hideout isn't as oppressive now.
Yeah.
But that's the idea.
And it's like, the add-on to that, it's not just like money trading hands, it's the rule set that goes along with your guild renting a certain area. So like gathering limitations, fame farming limitations, can't even like gank certain groups, you can't fame farm in certain zones. All these different rule sets get applied to these guilds that are like renting these zones, that just go out the window now, or can go out the window. They can choose to stay napped with whoever they're currently renting off now if they want to, but it also gives them the option to actually actively play and enjoy the Outlands and do the things without fearing that their hideout's going to get destroyed. And
absolutely.
While they're doing that, while they're actively playing in the Outlands, they're keeping their influence up, so they get to, and they also gain season points, so they can keep their HQ status. And going into the next seasons, they can maybe edge in a little bit further because they've gained more season points. The further that you go into the inner rings, the cost goes up
the
for
rewards,
these HQs.
But the costs go up, the maintenance goes up, the how much influence you have to maintain goes up, everything goes up, as it should, for being deeper into the Outlands. But it also really encourages people to be out there and about. And I love that, gaining the influence in your zones. And like you said, the influence, I don't think we described the mechanic of what influence does yet, but it allows you to secure spots in the queue so that if you want to, say, defend an area where you have high influence, you would have like 150 slots allocated to you, for example. I would say less than half of the allocated, the available slots in the zone, but close to it so that your opponent can't just kick you out when they have more numbers. You'd be able to keep a minimum number of people in there, and no matter how many people they brought, they couldn't massively overwhelm you on the battlefield if you developed influence in the zone. Now, there are a number of mechanics to allow for your opponent to build up influence, but they can't build up greater influence than you. So, say if you have 150 influence, that doesn't mean that you can't suddenly just bring 400 people versus the 100 people who are attacking you and completely overwhelm them using the current cluster queue. If your opponent wants to reserve some slots, there's mechanics for that as well, in the form of what is it, a war camp is what they're calling it.
Yes.
And you'd put it in the zone and would allow you to build up influence in that zone at a faster rate, very quickly, not something over a long period of time, because it actually diminishes your ability to build influence everywhere. But
yeah, so to jump into there, if you have a
Go ahead.
HQ in the zone, and if you put a war camp down in that zone, it actually you lose points
yeah, you'd
faster.
you would lose your
influence.
your ability to
I
gain
should
influence.
say
Yeah,
influence, I should
yeah, your
say
influence. Well, your influence rate would go down in that you're gaining, and your influence churn, the amount that you lose every day, would go up. Yeah.
So where can I read about this? I haven't.
On the round table, unfortunately, we'll be posting or showing the post in its entirety. I cannot give people the post, but because multiple parts of this were leaked onto Reddit, we're going to talk about the whole thing in its entirety, so that people get the full scope of it, not just the two different snippets that were isolated on Reddit. And I do want to make a point here. This is not going to affect the roads. I know that some people were very concerned that this would affect the roads.
Confirmed.
Well, so like nothing that was written there is about the roads. Like it specifically says Outlands, and this is kind of for the Outlands mechanic. So I don't think this is going to have anything to do with the roads from anything that's been mentioned so far. And one of the other misconceptions was that somebody had said that this would make hideouts guild only. That it doesn't do that from anything that I've read.
No, just your
headquarters, just HQs. HQs would be guild only, not your hideouts. I don't believe that was in any of the post.
Yeah, and it's going to keep the current system as well with the actual hideouts itself. So you can go and place a hideout, but that hideout can be destroyed. Just in the same way you can destroy a hideout now. The only thing that cannot be destroyed is your HQ. And if your guild activity drops, so your influence level drops to a certain amount, and you have HQ status in a zone, and then it drops below a certain percent, you lose the HQ status, and your
your headquarters becomes vulnerable. I think we just lost him again there, Bogul.
a hideout and be destroyed.
Yeah, it loses the HQ status and it goes back to being a hideout, and it can once again be destroyed. But important in this, because I know a lot of people were concerned about the spam. There is this idea that the hideouts themselves would be limited by your own choice to not pay more upkeep. This idea that the more hideouts are in a zone, there is a increasing upkeep the more hideouts are in there. I know that people were saying that this allows for easier rental, like for the empires themselves. Now you can't get them out. They can all just make invulnerable hideouts. For a number of reasons, I don't believe that would be the case, and I'm going to talk to Korn tomorrow and see if we can't talk about some of those reasons publicly. But one of them is definitely that there's only a certain number of tokens to be given out by rank in season points. So it's not like there would be enough to completely absorb the map or cover the map. And as well as if you only are having one per guild and you think that you can suddenly just spawn them somewhere else and bully somebody out, there is a a cooldown to removing yours and putting it somewhere else. Also, I believe the limits on the number that would be available in an area, much like there are with hideouts, would also be in play, but I do not have more information on that at this time.
I think at this point, the stuff you've been saying include a lot of new terms, a lot of unknowns to most people who are like, what the hell is Shozen talking about? So again, what we will try and do during the 19 UTC community show is we will try and look at that post together, read it together, go sort of through it and try to figure out what some of these words that Shozen just said, like hideouts and tokens and seats in points and other things mean in that context. And then sort of try and to put that into perspective, also including, of course, the big disclaimer that this is a idea looking for feedback, right? This is a potential direction to go towards. It's not 100% confirmed. And there's a bunch of feedback already on it, and usually things change based on feedback, right? So, but we still wanted to look at it because it has been the community thing sort of for the last few days, maybe a week, that could potentially shake up a lot of the Outlands gameplay. So I think it's worthwhile just spending some time and looking at that idea and figuring out some of the feedback and just putting things into context, really.
I agree, and I think that'll be a good time. I am getting interesting feedback right now, Bogul, on another topic that we discussed earlier in the show, the Six Alliance and its rental state. I'm getting multiple PMs saying that Six is not a renter of Blue Army. They are Red is Dead Alliance, no handholding, which goes along with what I had heard in my interview with Mon JP. However, we are seeing once again the propaganda in chat that Six is in fact renting from BA. So this just for, at least for drama's sake, I kind of like keeping it alive. How about you?
Yeah. It's fun to see people argue back and forth against each other. Because, I mean, if they're fighting and they're inting sets like chat just said, like inting to like 5 times their numbers, like what's the point? Surely your members would just give up and leave, right?
If BA is regearing them too on the other side, apparently, in the conspiracy theory. Or it's part of their rental agreement, maybe, you have to lose X number of sets to us.
Who knows?
I think this is thicker than tinfoil. I think we're going something real heavy here.
Right.
Get the old school aluminum.
Calm down there, Shozen. Calm down.
That heavy stuff for grilling.
All right. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the end of the war report. Stick around as Shozen and Bogul dive in to the roundtable topic as we were just talking about in, about 30-ish minutes?
Yes.
25.
25. There we go. I was close. But in the meantime, if you're looking for some content to watch, you can check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/AlbionTV, where you can find all the 5v5, 20 versus 20 Crystal League coverage, along with the war reports and Invasion Day battles. Both EU and NA are up on the YouTube now from the final invasion of Season 13 in 4K 60 FPS for your fine viewing pleasure. We also have the Hellgate showcases along with the feedback loops and the daily shows. We also got interviews, but at the moment, our interviews can be found elsewhere, can't they, Shozen?
Sure can. You can find those over on soundcloud.com/AlbionTV or any place you listen to podcasts simply by typing in Albion TV into your search bar. If you do that, you will be greeted with nearly 100 interviews featuring some of the most interesting and charismatic individuals in all of Albion Online, as well as a number of developers from Sandbox Interactive. So if you're interested in hearing about how the game is made or the histories of the game and the politics and player interactions, check out the interviews on soundcloud.com/AlbionTV.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stick around in 25 minutes for the roundtable breakdown of the new potential features coming to Albion soon. Till then, have a glorious evening. Good night.